Morning. You know, some people occasionally ask me, Fred, they say, how do you find the time to do all this stuff you do on YouTube? You know, you've got all these videos up there, something like 2,500 live and another couple of thousand unlisted videos. You make all these comments. You seem to be up on what people are doing, you know, you're active in terms of YouTube's terms of service. You know, how do you find the time to do all that? And what people don't realise, and this might come as a bit of a surprise to some of you, although probably not to others, is that this Fred McVitie guy, the guy that you're looking at right now, I'm not what I appear. I'm what they call a collective identity. Have you come across that term before? Collective identity. There's a few of us around. Karen Elliott, she's a collective identity. Monty Cantzin is a collective identity. Luther Blissett, collective identity, based in northern Italy. I'll put links in the description box below about these folk. They're collective identities, and I'm a collective identity too. What a collective identity means basically is essentially it's just a name. I mean, in this particular case, it happens to be my real name. It doesn't necessarily have to be. But a collective identity is a name that anybody can take on. So anybody can be Karen Elliott, anybody can be Monty Cantzin or Luther Blissett or Fred McVitie. Anybody can do that. But there's a proviso on that, which is that you have to accept the history of that name up to that point. So if you want to be Karen Elliott, you can, but you have to do a little bit of checking. You have to find out what Karen Elliott has done in the past. So what you're doing doesn't conflict too much, at least, with what Karen Elliott's history has been. Similarly with the others I mentioned, and it's the same with me. So those other people that are Fred McVitie, and there are a whole group of us, have to do the same thing as I'm trying to do, you know. And it's not that I set the lead in that. We're all Fred McVitie, yeah. All just advancing what Fred McVitie, the name Fred McVitie, the collective identity Fred McVitie does. So in terms of YouTube, for example, I make most of the videos. I don't make all the videos, but I do make most of them. I usually make them just over one day, usually, sometimes 2 days. I make a whole bunch all at once and then upload them to the YouTube channel, private. Which is why you see them in all different weather conditions. You probably noticed that if you're attentive, you'll see the weather conditions changing radically from one day to the next, and sometimes beard length changes. I'm not good at continuity. So I upload all these videos all at once, and that's almost all I do really in terms of a contribution to the conference report channel. You know, there's a whole bunch of other people who do comments, for example, who actually load the videos up or find other YouTube users to respond to, you know, when we could do video responses. You know, other people who are part of the Fred McVitie collective identity would post them as responses, that kind of thing. Would subscribe and, you know, all the paraphernalia of YouTube. Other people are doing that, really. Whole group of us. Which is fascinating. I mean, some people do make videos as well, actually. Some of the masked ones, because I started making the first videos, that became a bit of a problem. I kind of wish, if I was going to do the collective identity thing again, I probably wouldn't put my face on camera for that reason. But I did, you know, so what we do sometimes is that other people who make videos under my conference report name, Fred McVitie, either wear a mask or do some effect or something like that. Or just look a bit like me. There's one or two on there, you may not even spotted these, that I do in walk and talks, and they look a bit like me, but they're not actually me at all, which is kind of interesting. Not recently, actually, there was quite old as well. So yeah, it's a fascinating process. I would recommend trying it. I'm kind of surprised, actually, in many ways, that no one's outed me yet. I mean, I can understand why people who are doing the collective identity thing with me, other Fred McVitie's out there, haven't said anything, because it's just great fun, so they want to carry on playing. But I'm surprised none of you guys have spotted it, because I keep leaving clues, you know. I mean, the name of this channel is The Conference Report, and I've been really overt about why it's called that. You know, I've made several videos talking about the fact that it's based on this Persian poem called The Conference of the Birds, in which a flock of birds travel together through this environment. Yeah, a flock of birds. I've made dozens of videos about flocks and swarms, with lots of knowing winks towards what I'm doing. And no one seems to have got that, which is great, you know, it's fine. But, so that's what I'm doing. I'm a collective identity, Fred McVitie. So I don't want you to think the less of me of it, you know. I think we still kind of stand by this channel as a valid contribution. I hope you do too. Obviously, if you want to make a Fred Mac video, you can't at the moment really, because just because of the way that YouTube works and because of the necessity for trust in these things. Only a limited number of people have got access to my channel. I mean, there's nothing to stop you. I mean, if you want to make one, you can, but you couldn't. I wouldn't let you post it on the Conference Report channel yet. I might at some point in the future open it out to other Fred Mac video spawns, spawns of that identity. But yeah, collective identity. That's what's going on here. That's why I've got so much time on my hands. Because of course I've got a full-time job. I wouldn't be able to do as much as I do on YouTube and have a full-time job. And I'm in the middle of selling a house right now. And I've had my kids with me all the summer. And all kinds of other life stuff, I wouldn't have time to do half of that really, would I? A quarter of that. And I make stuff. I do other things as well. I like walking, riding my bike. So, yeah, as I say, I wouldn't have time to do all that if I had to do all this YouTube stuff myself. Jesus, I don't know how people do it. I really don't. Because, unless we're all collective, maybe we're up. That's something that hadn't occurred to me until this moment, actually. Because I do see people on YouTube who seem very active. I think, God, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do half of that. And maybe they're collective identities as well. Maybe so. Maybe these people who seem really coherent, or even maybe a little bit kind of authentically incoherent, because you have to have a little bit of incoherence in there, don't you? Maybe all these people who are apparently real people are actually collective identities. Maybe all of us are. Maybe you, there, wherever you are, listen to this camera, maybe you are a collective identity. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? Yeah. Here we are all stumbling through the fog together.